What is up? Coach Emma here, and welcome back to the Fit Habit Life podcast, where we cut through the noise, talk real health and fitness, sustainable fat loss, and habits that actually work. So today, I've got a special guest, Coach Clardy. We actually met in person over like a year ago at a Mind Pump coaches event. And she's a really awesome coach. I've been following her for a while and kind of taking inspiration from how she does things to kind of implement in my own coaching practice. So really excited to have her on. And yeah, just gonna have her introduce herself and tell her story, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. And it is wild to think that it's been a little bit over a year, right? It was May of 2024 that we met. And I know that we had known of each other just from being in that atmosphere. That's the crazy thing about like online coaching. For those of you that don't know, it's a very small world actually.
Yep.
Yeah. So I love going to the in-person things because you get to interact with these people in the different like Facebook groups we're in or the different mentorships and stuff. But like nothing beats the every now and then or, a few times a year meeting up with these people in real life. And I know you've been to a few events now that you can certainly attest that was certainly the case for you, where it's just so much better and you immerse yourself in it a lot once you get that in-person reaction to people and whatnot. So yeah, really cool. But yeah, like Emma was saying, I have been, on social media for a few minutes now, it seems like. I feel like an old lady, but my social media has really just been about health and fitness ever since I started my online coaching company. Just over four and a half years ago, I guess now. So I am nearly 40. I'll be 40 next February. And I've been in the fitness and nutrition space for 13 years. I started off we'll just go back to the way back in the day. I'm a former fat kid. So like played sports as a kid, but it was literally like when you don't have to make a team or anything, like 5th, 6th grade basketball with the YMCA. I guess I did make the volleyball team in middle school. But other than that, like all my friends were athletes growing up. I was like in different groups of kids growing up, but I just never really fit into one group because I didn't register with one thing, right? I'm friends with the basketball players, the volleyball players, the cheerleaders, even with the guys, the football players, the wrestlers, whatever. Like I identified with like surrounding myself with people that were doing a lot to take care of themselves, but I didn't know anything about taking care of myself. It just wasn't something that came from my household. So fast forward to college, and I binge drinker, like not healthy in any way, shape, or form. Bad news bears, you guys. I grew up eating fast food, didn't know how to cook anything. Like a home cooked meal at my house when growing up was my mom making like chicken breast with a slice of American cheese in the oven and some rice-a-roni. Like that was a home cooked meal. So most of our meals were out at restaurants or fast food or whatever. And once I started dating my now husband, he was my first like real legit boyfriend back when I turned like 23. That is when I started being like, I want to actually maybe get this guy to stick around, and he looks good. He's healthy. Maybe I should stop being fat and an alcoholic and somebody who just doesn't know what the hell she's doing with her life. So fitness truly changed my life. I started attending a women's boot camp with one of my good friends who was going there because she was really into health and fitness. And I was like, okay, let's try this. And then eventually, a year later, they wanted me to come on and be an instructor with them, a trainer. So I'm teaching elementary school. I was a 6th grade teacher by day. I was bartending on the weekends because I had bartended since I was 19. And now at that point, I was 22, 23 years old. And then I was also studying to get my personal training certification while I was planning my wedding. So it was just all of the things, right? All the things when you're in your early 20s and life is lifing and presenting you with all these opportunities and you still don't know what you want to be when you grow up, I guess. But I got my shit together, and at least enough to be able to lose weight and look like I knew what I was doing. My husband and I, we moved to Colorado and I stopped teaching because I hate teaching. Like teaching elementary school is just not for me by any means, but it was a great learning opportunity for sure. And so as soon as we moved here to Colorado from Montana, I started training at a 24-hour fitness. I realized I did not vibe with that either. Like it just wasn't the atmosphere for me. So I started my own women's boot camp and I did that for a few years, then stepped away for a little bit and then started doing like group fitness instructing at an I Love Kickboxing for a while. And eventually like the biggest thing in terms of my in-person coaching capacity was I coached at an Orange Theory Fitness for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And we'll go into so many offshoots of this conversation, I'm sure, but I was at Orange Theory from 2018 to 2022. And I started my online nutrition coaching company towards the end of 2020. And by the time I was just like burnt out with Orange Theory and everything, I then decided, okay, I'm going all in on my online coaching. Like I had been doing it for about a year and a half. I decided this is where I want everything to be at. So I quit my job with Delta Airlines. I quit my job with Orange Theory and have just been doing online coaching exclusively since for 3 years now, but I've been doing it, like I said, for about 4.5 years. So there you go. That was a whole lot of craziness. Let's pick it apart and let's talk about something.
Yeah, a lot of things. Well, let's see. So I guess first thing that comes to mind is your teaching background. Oh, hit my mic. Your teaching background probably helps like tremendously with the coaching process and like being able to kind of help people through that. So how has that helped you with your client?
Yeah, for sure. I think that is what people will say to me all the time. They're like, you were a teacher? Like, what? But then they get into my world, they get into my coaching or one of my programs or something, like it totally makes sense because that's the thing is like when I was teaching, even when I was teaching elementary school, I taught 2nd grade, 6th grade. I did like student teaching and stuff with like 4th, 5th grade. Like I just always treated kids more like they were adults. Like, you know what to do. Let's do it. I wasn't bullshitting them. I wasn't sugarcoating them. I was just teaching them on the level that they were at, but I also like respected them enough to not like talk down to them like they were little kids. I want them to feel like they're autonomous in their choices, but I also want to help them come to a better choice. And with, of course, my education and my awareness and my ability to support them. And so I think a lot of that does transition nicely into coaching because one of the things that like most people don't understand when it comes to like nutrition and fitness is like they think they should just be able to do it, right? We think that nutrition and eating should just come naturally because it's literally something we've done every day of our lives for the entirety. And so when, as a coach, we have to take a step back and be like, if you knew how to eat, like the way that you're supposed to eat to support the goals that you want, the health, the lifestyle that you want, then like you would be doing it. But we didn't learn these things as kids growing up. I know I certainly did. As I told you guys, not an athlete in any way, shape, or form, not a healthy eater in any way, shape, or form. And again, like in my 20s is when I started figuring shit out. And I am just now close to 40, like I said, and I'm just now to a place where, like the last couple of years, things have been starting to click together. And I really do feel like I have this thing in place that I can see myself doing for the rest of my life. Whereas trying all the fad diets, trying all of the fitness trends and everything, I had done that for so long because, well, so-and-so does this, so it must be the thing to do. Or, so-and-so had great success with this, it must be the thing to do. Nobody actually taught me what I needed to know to be a healthy eater for the rest of my life, to be an active individual for the rest of my life. So now that's, again, how I really approach coaching is like, how do I teach them while still giving them autonomy to drive their own conclusions and let them see how they can be successful with not always prioritizing like the outcome, like, but more so focus on the process because that is what teaching is, right? You don't just start your first day of 6th grade and then somebody hands you a 6th grade diploma, whatever, right? We have to go through learning about all the things that make us a successful 6th grader so that we can then evolve into the 7th grader. So that's how I look at coaching is like, I'm just helping you evolve to that next version of you that can do better than you were when you came in.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think like most people think that they know what to do, but then if you look at where they're at, it's like obviously not. And I didn't know either. I was an athlete. I ate like crap. Like seriously, like I had a pint of ice cream every other night. It was the frozen yogurt one. So
Oh yeah, not the full fat.
full fat. But it's like, I mean, man, it's because I think people, I guess, over fixate on like just being active, like, oh, I just need to like move or whatever. And they don't think about the foods that they're also eating, or they don't even know how to portion things out properly. So, how do you help your clients kind of figure that out?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that like one of the things that I have to focus on is like meeting them where they're at. So for instance, like the first week, I'm not giving you anything. The only thing I give them is like a workout program, right? Because I can get that based off of where they're at, what they have access to. Most people who come to me have worked out in some capacity, but again, I'm going to use that word. They've worked out. So they've never trained. They've never trained with intent. They've never trained to get stronger, to build muscle, to build a better metabolism. They've been working out. So a lot of them have already been active. I don't typically get somebody who like has zero experience with it. And, you know, I prefer that obviously because it's a lot harder. I think that everybody should have when people can come to me and have some sort of background because they've done group fitness or sports as a kid or whatever, that's tremendously helpful. But anyways, that's what they get to start with is like, hey, here's your workout program based off of all the information you gave me and everything. It changes every few weeks. And also it's going to change based off of any feedback they give me and whatnot. But when it comes to the nutrition piece and the lifestyle piece, it's just a dietary recall. It's just a lifestyle recall. So I tell them that first week, I'm like, I get it. Like you signed up to work with me. You've made this tremendous investment and everything, which I totally respect. And I get that anytime we're going to start a new program, we feel like we have to completely do a 180 from where we were. Like, I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to change your eating. I don't want you to try to impress me. I promise you, I'm not going to judge you. Like, I don't care. If you eat fucking 5 Snickers bars a day, like, go for it. I want to see it. Literally no judgment. I just want to see where you're at because you're a science experiment. We do not know, like, what we can expect for an outcome until we go through this process of going through all the steps and looking at what our procedure, we don't know what to change in terms of variables if we don't know where you're already at. So if you try to start, can I cuss on here? I know I already did.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, amazing. If you start trying to bullshit me and like pretend that you've been eating cucumbers and tomatoes for lunch every day, but that isn't how you've been eating, then like that doesn't do any of us any favors. Like I want to see the reality of where you're at because then I can help you. Because I might tell you, yeah, dude, like not a good idea to eat 5 Snickers bars a day, but like, can we have 1 a day? Let's see how that goes. But it's very much, again, meeting them with where they're at and adding in gradual changes. So I might have a more advanced client who I can right out the gates after their first week and after me knowing what their background is with tracking and stuff, I might be able to like say like, okay, cool. Like here's your protein goal, your fiber goal, your fruits and veggies goal, blah, blah, blah. Like I'll give them all the things. But if I have somebody who's new to all this, it might just literally be, okay, cool. Like, here's what I actually want you to do. You see that breakfast of yours that you're having? I want you to add Greek yogurt to it, or I want you to add a cup of egg whites to it, right? It might be just something so minimal where, again, they don't have to change everything in their day. It's just, how do we change this thing with one of your meals? And then we'll build from there. And then on the movement piece, it might be that they're getting 3,000 steps a day. Amazing. Love that. This week, I want you to get 4,000 steps and we're going to build from there. So I think that that's like the most important thing that we can do. And I will say, I have not always been good at this because here's the thing. So when I started working with my coach back in March of 2020, I started with that coach thinking, oh, I'm going to be with her for like 12 weeks. And I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Like, this is going to be awesome. This is just what I need. It did not work that way. I went through a 9-month reverse diet to maintenance phase before we even started putting me into a fat loss phase. And so what I realized from that was a lot of things, but one of them being that I am not the average person that's going to be my client. I already had a lot of background with tracking food, with strength training, with being active. Like I already knew a lot of the basics. I knew about protein. I knew about fiber. I knew about fruits and veggies. I knew about all those things. But most people coming to me don't have a clue that like chicken sausage is not necessarily high protein. They don't have a clue that eggs are not high protein, right?
Yep.
Like most people just don't know those things. So my goal is to help them with small changes incrementally over time. And then we'll get to a place where like all this stuff just feels like autopilot because you've been slowly adding it all in instead of like changing it all from the beginning. And so I kind of got away from this, but one of the ways that I've changed is when I first started coaching, I kind of had that sort of misconception that most people just knew these things, that I could right off the bat give them a calorie, a carb, a fat, a protein, a fiber goal, and that they would be good. And I very quickly on realized like, oh yeah, the average client coming to work with me doesn't already have a lot of the background knowledge that I had from my like 8 years that I had been in the fitness industry.
Yeah. That's sometimes something I struggle with, not with the nutrition, but just with like the training side of things. Like I didn't realize most people don't know what a hip hinge is.
Right.
Like a hip,
Yes.
and I've been lifting since I was like 13, so I just automatically like assume certain things. But yeah, I do a very similar approach with my clients. And I just started somebody like a week and a half ago, and he's like, okay, so like, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, I want you to show me all the food you're eating. He's like, I don't want to. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, I mean, you came to me for a reason, so I need to see where you're at now so that when we make changes, they're not too drastic and that they're sustainable, because he's like very all or nothing kind of person. So
we tend to attract them, right? Because that's very much us, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. We're the most difficult clients probably to work with.
Totally. Yes. I know that like coaches are super tough to work with because we think we know it all or whatever, and it's hard to change our ways. But then we have to realize like, it's also hard for these other people too, who just don't even have the knowledge that we do. Like we don't want to change our ways and we have a ton of knowledge. Imagine somebody who doesn't know any better. Like you don't know what you don't know.
Yep. Yeah. And I just started with my first coach like probably 5 weeks ago now. And that's been hard to like kind of let go and and do all that, the stuff that he wants me to do. I'm not doing a full body split. I'm only training 4 days a week.
Only.
I know. Well, I was splitting up my workouts to train 6 days a week because I'm glad I broke it, but I need to be doing something every day. But I've reduced so much inflammation just by training less. And so anyway, it's hard to let go, but it's been really beneficial, I think. And just like getting that third person kind of perspective on my life, just like what we do for our clients.
Exactly. And I think that it makes you so much more aware. It's very hard, just thinking about what our clients must be experiencing if we've never experienced it ourselves. And it's hard because we think like, well, I have experienced it, like doing it myself. But it's totally different when you get that outside perspective, right? Where like you probably thought, oh, it's fine that I'm doing like a 3-day-a-week workout program, but I'm splitting it up over 6 days. That's probably fine. That can't have any sort of negative consequence. But really, again, just that one small shift of dope, you're going to train 4 days a week. Like, let's keep you active in the ways that you like to be active on those other 3 days if that's what you really want. But like, you're just doing your body a disservice by constantly thinking that like, this is the solution when let's try another solution. And what's the worst thing that could happen?
Yep. Yeah. And with all the stress like going on, I did not need to be training that much. So
100%. Like you told me a little bit about your stress right now, and I just know like training would be one of the first things that I'd be cutting back on for sure.
Yeah. It's still my like coping kind of mechanism sort of thing. Just part of my problem. But
hey, better than cocaine, right?
That's true. And I used to use alcohol. So I mean, this is a win.
Yes. Right? We're evolving.
Yes. So how has your fitness journey kind of transitioned from like start to like now, like 13 years?
Shit. It's again, how much time do we have? It's been wild. I definitely, like I said, my first like real experience of like being super like wanting to improve my body composition, wanting to be active in the gym and whatnot was definitely cardio induced. So like I said, when I first started dating my husband, I was like, I'm going to get fit. And so what do most people do? They go running. That's what I did. So, I lived in an apartment downtown. This is back in Montana. he lived at a house. I was like staying at his house. I pretty much moved in like after a month of us dating. And so he had this great neighborhood that's like, yeah, I can go running up here. So I would go running pretty much every day. I got up to the point where I was running like 6-7 miles a day every day. I would go and do hours of cardio at the gym, whether it be a spin class, the elliptical, the stair climber. Like that was my MO. And I lost a lot of weight pretty quickly because again, I was just like spending literally hours a day pouring sweat. And that sucked, right? It was great. You know, I'm this like 23-year-old chick who works at a bar, makes money off of like how she looks and stuff. Like when you start looking better, you start making more money. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it is. But of course I was doing everything the wrong way. I was still binge drinking. I was still eating like crap and whatnot. And even when I did start to like clean up my diet and everything, which came from actually when I had joined that women's boot camp,
Really?
like a couple of years later. Yes, because so at the boot camp, I would go 5 days a week. It was Monday through Friday mornings at like 5:30 a.m. And they had nutrition seminars. Like the boot camp was 4 weeks on, a week off, 4 weeks on, a week off. And so I had signed up for like an entire year when I started because I was like, oh, I'm hooked. This is great. So I had signed up for the year, and every start of a new session or whatever, they would have these nutrition seminars that the woman would put on at her house. So that's when I started to learn about different things like, you know, protein sources, you know, what I should be having for carbs and like ways to healthify foods, if you will, like add stevia to shit instead of like your coffee creamer or whatever. But anyways, that was like my first glimpse into like better eating. However, I then like again went like so far in the other direction. I was again doing that boot camp 5 days a week. I was running most days. I was eating next to nothing, but I was like purposely trying to burn off every calorie that I consumed. Like I tracked everything that I ate, I think in like the Livestrong app or website or whatever back then. And then, I would wear a polar heart rate monitor all day, every day to see how many calories I would burn. And I had to burn at least as many calories as I was eating. So
wow,
it was pretty crazy. Did that for quite some time. Did classes, like I said, did the boot camp, would do body pump at the gym, whatever. Even when we moved here to Colorado, I was personal training, but I was very much like lifting weights every day, doing cardio every day, going to a class if I wasn't working out, or even doing like up to 3 different things a day, whether it be cardio, strength training, in a class.
Wow.
Like that was not uncommon. Very much an all or nothing person, very much I need to keep doing all the things, never giving my body the rest, constantly trying to make myself smaller. And I look back on it and I'm like, it just sucks because like I had such a great opportunity to capitalize on some newbie gains. If I had known, 1.5 decades ago or whatever, that like, hey, if you just like lift some heavy weights and you eat better, like your metabolism is going to really do a lot of the work for you rather than trying to manually burn off all of those calories. So, even when I was working at Orange Theory, like I said, I started in like the spring of 2018. I was there for 4 years, like literally 4 years. I think it was spring to spring of 18 to 22. And I had signed up with my coach midway through that, like March of 2020 when the world shut down. And so when I started with that coach, she's like, okay, no more cardio, no more running, no more Orange Theory or group fitness or anything. You can do your 3 days a week of strength training that you're doing, but I just want you hitting these steps. These are your macros, all the things. And so that was like tough at first, but also kind of easy because like Orange Theory was shut down. Okay, cool. I would just go for like a lot of long walks with my friends and stuff. And I was like, okay, kind of nice to like not be running and, walking on the treadmill all the time and doing all this bullshit. And so fast forward, now I strength train 4 days a week. Just this past month, I started doing reformer Pilates because I've had some ongoing back issues for a couple of years. And I'm curious to see if this will help like strengthen my core and maybe just like develop those muscles better. And I walk every day. I fucking love walking. It's like my favorite thing to do. I know I'm going off on like all these tangents, but like over my fitness journey, I've done a lot of half marathons. That used to be like my thing. So I've probably done maybe like 10 or something by now. And that was, again, I stopped running in 2018 when my coach told me not to. And then I signed up for a half marathon with a bunch of friends, like back in 2023, maybe Yeah, it must have been 2023 because we all wanted to go to Kauai and run this half marathon together. And it was kind of a bucket list thing for my husband because he had never done a half marathon or anything before.
Oh,
And
cool.
all these friends of mine, or of ours rather, were a bunch of my members from Orange Theory. And so we all decided, okay, we're going to do this because it's a great excuse to go on a vacation. That's how I used to do half marathons is I would like travel places like, oh, let's go to Dublin. Let's go to Lisbon. Let's go to Vancouver. Just go to a lot of places to be able to go on a vacation and also do a run. But anyways, last summer we were training for, my husband and I were going to do the Kauai half marathon again because we were going on a family vacation with my parents and my grandmother. So trained all summer for it. And then the week of the half marathon, my back went out and I literally couldn't sit, sleep, walk, do anything without being in extreme pain. And so I never even got to run the race. And I have not run since August of 2024. And then this week I was like, I think I want to start adding back in just a little bit of cardio. I just want like one day a week where I do a run just to like keep myself up to speed. And so today I went out for a 1.5 mile run, and my goal is to run once a week for anywhere from like a mile to a 5K. So yeah,
That's awesome.
Definitely a huge evolution of my fitness game and really all over the place.
Yeah, that's crazy. How did you convince yourself to just stop doing all the things? Like, how did you trust your coach?
Yeah, it was very much because like I invested this money in this person for a reason. They probably know what the fuck they're talking about. I knew that what I was doing wasn't working, right? It's like you can only bang your head against the wall so many times before you stop blaming the wall and you start being like, what's the common denominator here? Like, I am the common denominator. Me thinking that I've got it all figured out is the common denominator here. I clearly don't. And I will say, like, I get that it's really hard to release yourself from that stuff when you think like we've been so conditioned in the media for years to think like women need to make themselves smaller and we need to be doing the most. And, you know, anything else in life where we do more, we tend to get more of a payoff. And it just doesn't really work that way with exercise, especially. So I think one of the big things was, again, realizing like she's produced transformations for plenty of other people. Maybe she knows what she's talking about. And like, if I keep doing this thing and it keeps not leading me to the ultimate outcome that I want, then what's the harm in just deciding that I'm going to release myself from it for the next, again, at the time, I thought it was going to be 12 weeks. And it turned into 2.5 years of working with her. But like, obviously what I was doing wasn't working. And I had to stop saying, I know what to do. I just need to do it. Because that certainly was not the case. Because I was trying to do all the things. And whatever I was doing clearly was not it. Because it was not working.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, just in general, like getting to that point, I think makes you more open to it as well. Like for myself, I've had like gut issues for a long time, and I've made like leaps and bounds in them. So I definitely had a leaky gut, totally resolved that myself. Because of stress, severe stress, all the things. And then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? My life is very stressful. I'm trying to do all these things, and I'm still having these issues. And I don't necessarily look like I'd want to look like, even though that's kind of, I mean, I look great compared to the normal person, sure. But so I was like, you know what? Let me just try it out and see. And yeah, and that's, I mean, to get to that point, it's like, because I've been trying to fix my gut for like, I don't know, since 6 years or something.
Wow.
So yeah, I've gotten pretty far, but I still like, it's weird because it's not specific foods. So it's not like I eat something and then right away I know what it is. It's like, oh, I'll have the same meal that I had yesterday today, and then my gut is just out of whack the rest of the night. So anyway,
dude, I feel you. I'm in the thick of it too.
Yeah, man. So what are your gut like stuff? I
wish I knew. So I started with a mentorship. It was 2 years ago now, and it it was all about like, it was a year-long thing, and each month we would learn about something new. So like one month would be like learning about labs. One month is learning about GI maps and gut issues. One month is PCOS. One month is menopause. Like, so it was very much these like higher level coaching things that were going to help me with like, okay, this will help me better serve a different repertoire of clientele. I'll be able to help with all these different challenges that we know like are popping up a lot more. Cause prior to that, I was just like, basically like, hey, I just want to help Gen Pop, like basic lifestyle improvements and everything. I had an assistant coach on my team as well. And she was like very well versed in all of that because she had gone through a lot of her own issues with PCOS and all these just crazy health things. She had been able to successfully lose like 180 pounds or something.
Wow.
Like she had done a lot and she knows a lot, but she is like super thirsty for all that knowledge. Like she was even in school to become an RD and whatnot at the time. And I'm like, okay,
Wow.
like I need to sharpen my skills. Like I need to be more of an asset to this team to be able to serve more people. And so when I started that program, I was like, okay, a lot of this is just like woof over my head, hard for me to like dive into and whatnot, because I'm very much like if I'm going to learn how to like do this and apply this on other people, it makes more sense for me to like apply it to myself. So, you know, that's how I've learned macros. That's how I've learned training. Sure, I have all these certifications and stuff, but like I have to actually go through the process to understand it, which again is why I think like I'm a good coach because I've worked with a lot of different coaches over the years. And so I've been able to take things that I do and don't like from each of them and just decide like, okay, this is how it does or doesn't work for me, or, ooh, I like this, but I want to change that type of thing. So anyways, I get into that mentorship. We get into like the labs and stuff. I'm like, cool, let's do my labs. Cool. I'm going to do a GI map, blah, blah, blah. And so we go into it and like, she pulls up my stuff as an example on one of our group calls. And she's like, ooh, like we've got some issues. I'm like, yeah, makes sense. Like I've been on hormonal birth control since I was 18 years old. I haven't had a period since I was 18 years old because I was specifically on birth controls that put the kibosh on that because I'm not a fan. I don't want kids, but I also don't want a period. Like it just wasn't something I wanted to deal with. It was kind of a hassle. So anyways, through all of that, I decide like, okay, I'm going to get off birth control. So I get off of it. I go and I try to do some more things and I still was just having some issues with like, it's just, I really struggle to lose body fat and I really struggle to put on muscle mass, but also, around that same time, like spring of 2023, when I started that mentorship, I started having these weird skin issues pop up on my face. Like I've always had really good skin. I've never been somebody who's like acne prone or anything. Sure, had some like blackheads on my nose as a teenager and stuff, and I'm sure they're still there. But overall, like I have really good skin. And so it's now been over 2 years and that shit has like not gone away. Like I went to a dermatologist early on. They didn't know what it was. They're like, oh, maybe like the best thing that they could tell me was like maybe some sort of dermatitis or something. They gave me like a steroid cream. It seemed like it was working and then it wasn't working. So now this just a couple months ago, I signed up to work with a coach who's an acquaintance, a friend of mine from another mentorship that we were in together. And like, that's what she specializes in is more of the like deep gut health stuff. And actually the mentorship that I had been in, she was a person who like, I sought out her sort of advice on that because I knew she had gone through that mentorship. And so anyways, I know this is a lot, but I started working with her to see if we could figure all this out. And it has just been a lot of like supplements, a lot of like, they're giving me a little bit of feedback on my labs and my test results and stuff, but not really enough for me to understand. And we had to go through some really restrictive protocols where they had me literally on a meal plan, and I do not do well with a meal plan. And I do not do well with like not being able to eat some sort of food that I like. And it was like, I'm not even into the details, but it was like, I have no desire to do anything, and that's not okay. Like, there's no reason for me. I would stay in bed for 2 extra hours a day because I'm like, I have no motivation to do anything in my life right now. And that doesn't work well for somebody who is a coach for not only health and fitness people, but also other coaches. Like, I can't show up for my clients and my students if I, again, just feel like I don't even want to get out of bed every day. So, I don't really have any answers. I will say that for whatever reason, over this past week, my skin is starting to improve a little bit. That's good news. The problem is I just can't attribute it to anything in particular because I'm trying so many different things because I'm so desperate to get rid of it at this point. So yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Yeah, so my husband's issue is actually gut related. So we've gone through all this stuff. He has chronic fatigue. He wakes up exhausted. He's done the Dutch test. He has no cortisol when he wakes up, like zero.
I'm still waiting on my Dutch test results. It's been like almost 3 weeks, I think, and I still don't have any results.
Our GI maps took like 3 weeks, and we did those.
Yeah, those take forever too.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting on the Dutch.
those suck. That was disgusting. I never want to do that again.
I did a full-on GI map the first time, and then this most recent one that I did with this coach was called Tiny Health, and so it was like obviously basically the same thing with a stool sample, but it was a lot different, and this one was much easier. So if I were to ever do it again, I would want to do the Tiny Health instead of the GI map.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, because the GI map, you actually have to like poop and then like play with it to put it in a container to ship it to some. It was, yeah.
Yeah, not a vibe, you guys, but like sometimes we gotta do what we gotta do to figure out what's going on when we feel like we've exhausted all of our other options.
Yep, yeah, and it was one of those things because we did sleep studies. He had a deviated septum, so he got a septoplasty, or however you say it. Like he had nose surgery, and it didn't help. So anyway, it's a gut thing. So his gut, like we both have gut dysbiosis, and my coach thinks he might have given it to me. But his is like 10x, like super bad, super overgrown. He has low digestive enzyme counts, and he's always hungry, which is probably why.
Yeah.
But yeah, so mine isn't that bad to where I don't have to be on a restrictive diet. But for him, like he has to do a low FODMAP because some of the foods can make the bad bacteria continue to fester, essentially. Some of the, like, yeah. So we bought like, this is ridiculous. I don't recommend, well, we have to do this, like he needs it. But we spent like $1,000 on supplements to do this 2-month protocol.
Yep. It's wild, you guys. But I mean, I think that that's what's important for anybody who's listening to like understand is that we already have healthy lifestyles. We've already like done all the things that we're supposed to do. And now it's like, okay, cool. Like this and that, like makes sense. Like I feel good. I'm healthy, whatever. But oftentimes there are these underlying things. And so if you think that you're just going to go like take a GI map or take a Dutch test or whatever, and it's just going to be solved with some basic supplements or protocols, it's not. So I would highly recommend, get your shit together before you start doing any of that, because odds are that if you can start to incorporate better lifestyle habits, like movement, like strength training, like a better quality diet, like eating an appropriate amount of food and whatnot, you're going to be able to take care of a lot of it. But there are some situations where like, for whatever reason, we've done something or something has happened to us. We're like, okay, there's still some underlying stuff in here that we have to do a deeper dive in. And then it's worth investing the funds into it. But like people that are still eating fast food on a regular basis, people that still don't strength train ever, people who still get 4,000 steps a day. Like, no, you don't need a GI map. You need to just change your lifestyle first and foremost. And then we'll dive into that maybe after like a year or two. Yeah.
And that's something, I mean, because I've struggled to talk about this because I don't want people to think, oh, I should spend $500 on a GI map and supplement protocol and all the things. It's like, dude, you're like not walking or strength training or eating enough protein and fiber or drinking water. You don't need more testing. You probably don't need hormone replacement either. You probably just need healthy lifestyle stuff. And then maybe after a year, like you were saying, then you want to get tested and like see if there's any other things you can optimize.
Yes, I think that that's the biggest thing is like we want to just like improve things, and then when we're ready to optimize it, we can optimize it. But until you're doing the basics, don't waste your money on all of that really aggressive, unimportant stuff. Like I loathe taking supplements. There's only a few that I take on like a regular basis. And so again, when I had to go into these protocols and I've shelled out legit like $500 plus worth of supplements for maybe a month's worth, I'm like, all right, this is annoying. But like also I do look at it as I would rather be proactive and invest in my health now than this turn into something even worse and have to be reactive later on. And I'm somebody, I've only had insurance for like since the beginning of last year. I didn't have health insurance for a few years prior to that because it wasn't like a part of my jobs. I didn't have health insurance since I left Montana, basically. And then I did have it when it was like mandatory. And then I got off it because I'm like, I'm not spending $500 a month on sick people. Like, I would rather invest that $500 a month in me taking care of myself with food and movement and all of that. And so I'm very much a person that's like, I don't look at like any sort of health expenses as being a cost right now. I look at it as an investment in my future where I am going to keep my ass out of the hospital, God willing, right? Obviously, nothing is like foolproof, and it doesn't mean that something can't happen, that, you know, I could end up needing more medical care or attention or whatever. But I try to be as proactive as possible and never ever look at my health as an expense.
Yeah, same here, because I think like for my husband's thing, so, well, one, he wasn't as honest with me about his symptoms. I feel like maybe I don't generalize, but a lot of men aren't going to complain about things to their wife because they don't want to seem weak. I don't know. That's what my husband does. He doesn't complain about anything. So he didn't complain until like, it's probably like 3 weeks ago now, maybe 3.5 weeks. He was like, I need to go to the emergency room. And I was like, yeah, he felt like he was having a heart attack. He was not. It was like, and we think, I have another health coach friend, and she's like, those symptoms are probably due to an electrolyte imbalance with all the stress. Because father-in-law health issues, we bought a house, I left my job, he's a sole provider, he already had chronic fatigue and these underlying gut issues. So like all those things created this like, anyway. So yeah, so we had to go to the emergency and all this stuff, but it's just stress, thankfully, and we're fixing it now. But I'd rather he had ahead of time said something, and maybe we bought the GI map like 6 months ago, or 7 months ago when he was starting to feel kind of, anyway. But yeah, definitely worth investing in your health, so you don't, because we're gonna have an emergency bill, and like we had to take the ambulance because he felt like his dad has had a heart attack, so that was part of it too. So it's like, you've heard the symptoms, you're feeling it yourself, we're driving to the emergency, and he's like, we need to pull over and call 911. And I was like, okay. And then I'm scared shitless because I think he's dying or something, but I'm like, we're only 27. Yeah. So
wild.
Yeah. So anyway, don't be like my husband.
No, don't, you guys. That is wild. I mean, I think back to my husband was 27 when I was 23 when we just started dating, and I just can't even imagine. Right now, we're old and decrepit at this point. He's 43, I'm 39, and I just can't even imagine like being that young and just feeling like, holy shit, like something is seriously wrong with me. We never went through that, right? Because all we were doing was getting shit-faced at that time. We were not healthy at all.
Yeah, it's weird because, so obviously, like maybe not obviously, I probably would not have married my husband if he didn't like to exercise or prioritize his health. We didn't have the same values in that way. So it's like we do all the things, and so it's just, I think his gut issues, he's had them for so long, and they just got like really, really bad to where the symptoms were like really severe. And I guess you don't really know better if you've had it for a long time.
Yeah, I think that right there is like huge. So many people, I say this all the time, they just don't know how bad they feel, and they don't know how good they could feel because they have felt bad for so long that it just becomes their norm, right? Like, this is normal. That's not normal. Like, for you to be feeling however you're feeling, that is not normal. And it's just like, looking at blood work, like running labs and stuff. Just because you fall into the normal range, that normal range is based off of the average population. Have you seen how fucking unhealthy and sick the average population is? I refuse to be normal. I want to be optimal. So I will do whatever it takes to be an outlier and be in the optimal range that skews all of you unhealthy people over into this like weird spot. But like, no, like it's not normal to feel like shit all the time. And so many people have just accepted that as like, no, it's just age. Oh, it's just I'm busy. Oh, it's just I've got a family. Like, it's not normal.
Oh, it's my hormones.
Yeah, exactly. It's not normal to feel like shit all of the
No.
time and to not feel good most days.
Yeah, and with my husband at the hospital, they were actually like trying to kick us out without giving us proper like care. Because it's like we don't really know what's going on. The only reason I knew it was an electrolyte imbalance is I had a podcast with a friend the next day, and I told her about all this stuff, and she's like, dude, it's an electrolyte imbalance. Don't worry. My mom had the same thing. Just give him more potassium. It should help balance him out. I was like, well, thank God for you, because the doctors ran his labs, didn't even let us see them, and said he was fine. We had to push to get like a cardiogram and like an x-ray, and because I mean we just want to make sure, because if you have like your parents have a history of heart attack, right? So anyway, yeah.
Always worth the investment, you guys. And like, it sucks to have to, like you said, now we've got this emergency bill and everything, but like, honestly, sometimes that's like the wake up call that we need to be like, okay, what do we got to fix here? And for him, it's not, oh, I need to stop smoking cigarettes. Oh, I need to stop drinking alcohol. Oh, I need to stop eating fast food every day. It's literally, I need to chill the F out and like slow down because my body is rejecting all of this extra stress. So yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, on that note, what do you want to leave our audience with?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. We'll see. What do I want to leave you with? I would say that, again, like, don't look at your health as an expense. Look at it as an investment. Yes. Don't act like, oh, well, I can only, take care of my health if I spend hundreds of dollars a month on coaching or supplements or whatever. Like, literally, if you're not ready for that, there are so many free resources available out there. And there are so many things that can get you moving in the right direction. And like I was saying before, we're like, sure, we might evolve to that place where we need to get more support with like deeper dives and tests and all of that good stuff. But like, start with where you're at. Start with, okay, what are things that I can do in just my day-to-day that are going to dramatically improve my health? Whether it is, like I was saying with some of my clients, like, oh, let's just start with eating more protein in our breakfast. Or let's just start with eating a fruit or a vegetable with most meals. Or, oh, I look at my step count on my Apple Watch. I'm getting 4,000 steps a day. Great. Next week, I'm going to try for 5,000. Like, start where you're at. Don't feel like you need to do a total 180, but ask yourself, like, what are some of those little daily deposits that are going to have a compounding interest that are really going to add up? And if I reach the point where I feel like I've done everything on my own and I need to get, involved with a coach or something, great, go that route. Or if you're somebody that you're like, well, I've been doing all those things and I'm still like not making any progress, well, guess what? You might be one of those people that needs another set of eyes on your shit, to show you, hey, you're doing really, really good, but here's how we can do even better and get you the results that you're actually looking at. So start where you're at. Don't feel like you have to make a dramatic life overhaul. And, look at your health as an investment because you get one body. You don't get to replace it like your car. You don't get to replace it like a house. So let's look at how we can make it as good as possible for as long as possible.
Yes, love that. That's a great way to end the episode. So where can our audience find you?
Primarily over on Instagram. That's like my main spot. So it's Crystal, caffeine, and carbs. There's a period after each of those words. So Crystal period, caffeine period, and period carbs. But I guarantee you just start typing it in and I'll pop up. I don't think there's anybody else that has Crystal and caffeine in their name. And then over on Facebook, I'm Crystal Dawn Clardy. I have a Facebook group over there. I have not been keeping up on it, but I did actually just post in there today. So we're doing good. And I also have a podcast with another one of our coach friends, Erin. She and I drop an episode every week and it's called Stop Talking About Fat Loss. So yeah, if you ever need anything, hit me up on Instagram. I'm an open book. I don't have a big team of people working for me. If you're talking to me, you're talking to me.
Yes, and I will post all those in the show notes. Their podcast is awesome. Was listening to it today, so definitely give that a listen. And if this resonated with you or you think this could help somebody else in your life, please share and share the podcast, rate the show. I just want to get this in front of more people to help more people. So yeah, so thanks for listening. See you guys next time.
Amazing. Bye.